So we're going to get our machine ready to sew. We'll put our presser foot on. So I'm going to make sure that the screw is loosened, but try to never remove these screws completely, this one and the needle screw, because they're small and they might get lost. You can raise the presser foot back here with the presser foot lift. Slip that guy on and then tighten him up with your screwdriver. That's good. Load my needle. Got a reminder here about which direction the needle goes. The scarf, the little chunk, goes to the right, and the long groove right down the front here goes to the left. So I loosen this so that I can shove it all the way up. Look to make sure it's straight. And I tighten that screw well. So there's my long groove on the left side. Now I'm gonna thread up the needle. So we start with our thread on the stand, come through this first hole at the top of your thread stand. Keep this all parallel to the machine. Some of our machines have little tension discs at the top and some don't. The repairman has told me that these aren't necessary, and in this case they're not doing anything, so sort of pointless to use them on this machine. But if they were sticking together well, you would just wrap once clockwise around, and then you go right to left through this top hole and right to left through that second hole. Your next spot is the tension discs. So you go straight down into these discs. When the presser foot is raised, the discs are released, they're open. When the presser foot is down, they're closed and it's tight. So what you need to make sure of, regardless of whether it's up or down, is that the thread is in there, seated in there. If it's just sitting here like this, we're not going to stitch well. And it needs to be in between these two discs. So I just kind of get it stuck up in there, and it'll find its right spot as we sew. Then we want to catch that check spring, go under this guide. Now we go through that hook. You've got the take up lever here that moves when you turn the hand wheel. And so you go right to left through the take up lever, through that hook. We are down here. There's a hook right there that we go by. You can go front to back through this hole in your needle clamp, and then the needle, I'm going to go on and turn the light on so it shines better. We go left to right through the needle. There we go. And one of the ways you can check to make sure that your needle is good and straight in there is you feel how the thread glides. It should be going nice and smooth parallel to the edge of the machine. If it's sort of getting pulled on some, or if nice and smooth means it has to be at an angle, then your needle's twisted some. You want it to be nice and smooth at sort of going east to west, you know, side to side. And then we do our bobbin and bobbin case. So again, you have a reminder on your magnet. Drop the bobbin in so that it spins counterclockwise when you pull the thread. And then you pull the thread tail through that slot and give it a little tug until it comes into this tiny little hole of your bobbin case. I need several inches of a tail. I'm going to hold my bobbin case like that. The bobbin's now locked in. It won't fall. I'm going to make sure that that thread tail stays over there because I don't want it to get caught under this latch when I release it. And now it goes under. Let's see if we can get it so y'all can see. So I'm going to put it on this post right here. I kind of hold it in my left hand and I can see my thread through this window of my bobbin case. So it's, at the moment, the window is kind of pointed towards me, and then I just have to give it a little twist so that the window is pointing up and it clicks into place. And now the end of the post is flush with the end of the bobbin case. And hopefully that thread tail is hanging free. And then we have to pull up the thread by giving the hand wheel one turn towards us. Hopefully every now and then you have to turn it twice. But that should bring the loop up of the bobbin thread. And you are ready to sew. And let's just test out our stitch. Looks good on top, looks good on the bottom. Sort of balanced. I don't want to see any looping. If I see any looping bubbling up of this thread, then the problem is somewhere in the area of the bubbly thread. So typically what you're going to see, guys, is this. See that mess? That's telling you, we're sending through way too much needle thread. And that's because I didn't have my needle thread in the tension discs properly. So now it is. And it'll right itself. There you go. Back to normal. When I'm done, I'll remove my bobbin case, keep my bobbin and bobbin case with me, remove my presser foot, remove my needle. Again, really try to not remove the screws, just loosen them enough to pull out your things. But the nice thing to do, turn off the machine too, is to clip the thread right at your spool, and then perhaps the next person only has to tie on. It's just a good habit to get into.